Hi, I'm Go Via or Go Home. I'd like to welcome you back to my channel. Today, part 2. And we have liftoff. So I got this module put together, well, the bottom half of this module. I got a bunch of the leg holders or whatever you want to call them. They're built, they're put together. And on the leg I had these already put on, so they're basically what's holding that in place right now. It's very level, so I'm not sure how far down I'm going to be coming with the track there, but again, like I said, I'm going to be doing that same thing where I have it turn. It's going to turn here and go back that way, and it'll line up. But that's basically what I've got here so far, and you can kind of see that I've put this in place to where it's gonna go, and it's right to the edge, right to the face, and I got the track on top of there. It's just sitting there for now. I just wanted to see how well that would work, and the track is connected right there, so that's pretty cool. That works, and that goes down a little bit, so we'll see how that kind of pans out. I have to get some more plywood though, maybe later on this week, and I'll be able to do that part right there, and hopefully I'll have a full loop so I can connect some power and get the train going at least around in a circle, just to kind of get a feel for it, see how well it works, and then I can kind of build onto it from there. Okay, here's another pro tip. Because I already know that I'm doing Pico, code 83, if you go to their website, it actually allows you to print off templates. And that's basically all the turnouts that they have. So I've got my number 8s, which I use for my main, that's a left and a right. They had number 5 and number 6 switches, but I just printed off number 5s for now, I believe. So I've got left and rights for that. The Y. A number 7 curved turnout, which is a left and a right there. It's the only curved turnout that they have. If I need something else, I'll see what else is out there, but for now I got number 7s, which are fine. They work with a 30-inch curve radius, so that's what I'm used to, that's what I'll use. And I also have a diamond crossing. Now they also have one that has a switch to it, but I'm gonna just avoid that for now, and gonna use a couple of those places in my layout, so we'll see what we can do with that. Taking a look at this part of my modular layout, this is kind of where I started, so this is where I'm gonna start from as far as putting my track and whatnot, like along here. I just wanted to kind of work out where I'm gonna have my track, and because it's gonna be elevated at some points here, some parts are gonna be higher, some parts are gonna be lower. I need to work out my radiuses and whatnot. So basically what I'm doing now, you'll see that yes, I do have pen marks. Even under the blue and the orange there's pen. Some of it is right, some of it is wrong, and then I had to make it bigger, make it smaller in some points, but I'll kind of walk you through what I'm doing. So just to kind of give you an idea, I've got 2 markers here. One is blue and one is orange. Orange is where I'm making cuts, so you'll see that I have a huge, well, it only goes to there, but I have a huge cut line here, It's because this section is going to be higher. So I want to cut that and have that separate from the rest of this. And the blue line is going to be where I put my cork, and that's my center line. So it's going to curve around, and it is a little bit bigger than my 30-inch radius, so that's 30 and that's an inch over, so this is a 31-inch radius, but then you'll see it cuts down a little bit into the 30-inch radius just to kind of line up there. I just wanted to come out farther this way because when I cut it and have this part higher, this part here is going to go lower. This is actually going to be almost flat here. So from here, it's going to go up. And both of these are going to go up. And it's all going to come level right in here. So even though this part's going to be raised up, you're going to go up higher for the outside, and you're going to go lower for down here. And then for this section here, we're going to come into an industry. Not sure which industry yet. You'll see I'm using my templates there. Those are my number 5s. And it gives me like a 3-track siding here. And then basically, how did I have this? So this is a main. This is the main line. This is the second main because they were one main and then they split off into 2. Then I've got a switch, which is a number 8, which is going to be on this module here, and it's going to split. So you're coming off the main, going straight, and then it goes up, or you come off here, which this is a siding. This is just a long siding here, and then you can go into the main. But it's also a siding that you can also go into the industry as well, and then you've got your industry tracks. So I hope that makes sense. I have to make a couple of cuts, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to lay my foam on top of the plywood and then cut the plywood and use a plywood down to wherever it needs to go, raise it up or lower it, however I have to do it, and then once it's in a good place and everything is set, I can just glue the foam right on top of it. It's going to be the exact same size, and my land formation is going to be complete for this module and then this module as well. And then once I get my buildings for wherever they need to go, I can create a little platform and then just build the land up wherever all around. And they all go into one track here, which goes into kind of a swivel down into there, and there's going to be a nice size bridge right in here, maybe a trestle bridge. I don't think, I'm yet to use a trestle bridge, so I wouldn't mind trying that out. And there's going to be a slope, a nice slope here, water. I really want to do water, and it's going to go up again into whatever landform that is, so it's all going to piece together to be one. It's going to look like one solid scene going across here, and then obviously we're going to continue on that way, but that's a different story for a different day. So I'm going to cut all these out, and then once I get the plywood, I'll cut all the plywood out as well, and then we'll work on our elevations for this side. Another thing I want to add here real quick, you'll see all this foam against the back here. Whether you're just starting to watch now or you've been watching since I was making an end scale layout, basically these pieces that are sticking up here along with the foam that's glued in place, you can see it makes almost like a wall. Forgive that one there, he's just not standing upright, maybe he was drinking too much or something, I don't know. But basically there's a little space in between there, and it's the same thickness as the foam that I use. Do I have a spare piece? I mean, I can just use this one as an example. So basically, imagine there's a backdrop on here. I really like this backdrop. Basically, it just sits in there, and yeah, goes right along. Backdrop will be on that, and then I'm gonna cut this out in whatever fashion to basically go with the landform, so the track and all that doesn't go up against it, and I don't ruin my backdrop by getting glue and all that stuff all over it. And yeah, it's a neat idea. And those also fold down. They're just on there with nuts. So basically, yeah, it's just a little quick idea. And then when I go to obviously move, I take the backdrop off so that it takes up less space, and you're just going down to the module size here. And those stay on there, those fold down, and it'll be easy to move it down the road. So this is going to be a very, I'm going to call it ambitious module that I'm doing. Goes over the span of the couch here. It's kind of like a centerpiece, if you will. Even though it's not in the center, it's just, I don't know, whatever. It's gonna look cool. But I need a big bridge that basically spans the same length as this level here. I know where I'm starting, which is here, and I know where I'm going, which is basically to there. And basically I used my radius here, my 30-inch radius, and I kind of made from a straight to a curve, and then I did the reverse on this side, so I went from a curve going up, and then I made a straight line going from the curve there to up there where it would go. And then obviously you can see I did it in a blue marker because that's going to be the center line where the track will go. I want to start my bridge somewhere around here because I'm going about 3 inches from the beginning of the straight, just to kind of give it it curves and then goes straight, and then it goes onto the bridge. And I'm gonna do the same thing here, although the foam doesn't go far enough. I really am just using these as a template until I know how long my bridge is and know where it's starting, where it's finishing, and where my water is gonna go. And then I'll basically just cut out the first part of this, drop a piece flat where the water is gonna go, and then kind of build up on both sides to it, and then go from there. But that's basically what this module is going to be. It's just a single line track there, and I'm glad to get started on that as well. And at any time I can always take this module right out and sit it on my table and just work on it as an individual module, because there's no legs on it and there's one bolt at each end. But it doesn't spin, it doesn't tip, it's very level, and it lines up really well with the other modules. So really excited for this one, because I really want to do a nice bridge and water scene, and this I'm sure will test my landscaping skills for sure. Okay, so we're going to take a look at elevations for a moment, and I'm going to show you basically what I'm doing in regards to raising and lowering my actual track roadbed, and how we're going to navigate around this area here. So basically, before I cut this foam out, and you can kind of see on here those little tick marks, they represent every foot. So for here, I started here because this is where I wanted to be the lowest point. So with the foam and the wood, I knew it was going to be 3.5 inches off the or from here, and then I just added another I think 1.5 inches there, making it an even 5 inches. So I'm 5 inches up. Now, if you're familiar with the Woodland Scenics risers and whatnot, they say every 2 feet it goes up 1/2 inch, and that's a 2% grade. And I'm okay with that, because I run a lot of long trains, passenger and whatnot, and I don't want anything to unbuckle or uncouple, sorry, and Same with like, locomotives. I want to be able to pull locomotives up and down this thing without there being any kind of derailment or like a load being too heavy. Although I can run a consist, it's fine, but I want to keep things more realistic. So every 2 feet I go up a 1/2 inch. So I made a mark, and you can see on all those blue lines there, which is where a track is going to go. Every 2 feet I would make a mark going right along all the way down to there. So I would go from the 3.5 inches, right? Because that's, basically, actually I went from, well, that's 5 inches, whatever. So I went 5 inches and I counted, every 2 feet I would go up a 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, another 1/2 inch, and it goes up a total of 2 inches. You can see I put the number 2 there. So from the number 2, which this is going to go on the inside there, and it goes like that. It starts there, and it's going to get higher and higher until it gets to here, and that's how tall it's going to be, but it's going to be on the inside there. Going back from that, because I have to go upgrade from here, so it's going to go, every 2 feet is going to go a little bit higher and a little bit higher, and then this is where it'll end up at the end of it. So we go from it being 3.5 inches up to it being 8.5 inches. And that should also give me enough clearance if I was doing an over, under, or a bridge, but I can go a little bit higher. And this is probably going to go a little bit lower too. I also want to add here, because there's going to be a switch here, it's going to start to go down a little bit here as well. So this is going to probably be one of the lower points. It's not going to go down much lower than this one once I cut that out. But ultimately it's going to come down real low, and it's going to just be front and center, and you have a higher level elevation at the back, and you're kind of looking up, right? Because if the back here was lower, it disappears and then you don't see the train. So you kind of want the back of your layout to be a little bit higher, so it's kind of cascading down towards you. It just gives it a better effect. Well, that was great. Next time we're gonna have part 3. So I guess it's safe to say that I'm doing North Bay. But what do I name my layout? Maybe you can leave a comment below, just, with your ideas of what I could actually call my layout, because I've never given any of my layouts a name. And, just like when you find a kitten or a puppy, they say don't name it if you're not planning on keeping it. Well, this I'm planning on keeping, so I definitely want to give it a name. So, drop your ideas. Just remember, Ontario, Northland-ish, esque, just so it kind of goes with the layout, no point in calling it like, Santa Fe Central if there's no Santa Fe. But yeah, I'd like to hear your thoughts and ideas down below, and who knows, you could always turn this into a contest and pick a winner. Until next time.